Hey guys, this is Pat with MACkite here this morning with Brendan Healy from Cabrinha.
All right, guys, good to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem, Brendan. Yeah, so you came from a background of sailing, right? That's kind of how you got into the whole wind sports
Yeah,
thing?
exactly. Yeah, I grew up in Annapolis, Maryland, and it's kind of like the Chesapeake Bay. So it's almost like an inland body of water, more or less. So no real waves of any kind, and the breeze is pretty frontal. But yeah, I basically grew up sailing. It's a pretty like sailing heavy base community. Grew up doing that. Sailed in high school, sailed throughout, junior sailing before high school, and then went to the College of Charleston. Studied business there, but they had a pretty strong sailing team, and that was really my biggest motivator to go there. And Charleston's insanely awesome if you haven't been there. But yeah, sailed there for 4 years, and was an All-American on the sailing team there. We won a couple of national championships, and then. Went to pursue some professional sailing after that, and still do a little bit of that every now and then. I'm actually doing some this weekend, but
Awesome.
yeah, won a world championship in 2016, and then kind of started to migrate into into the water sports area. Just doing something totally different and new, and been doing it for 6 years now, and absolutely love it.
Yeah. So had you been kiting before you got into the kite industry itself, or was it something that you got into the industry and then started kiting, or how'd that kind of come together?
Yeah. I guess, I mean, I started kiting in 2009, I believe. So, yeah, I was kiting quite a bit while I was sailing, and, long before we got into into the industry itself, and, got into foiling, relatively early, I think. The first foil was like a Spots 1 original, which, it's hilarious to think what I had learned on that thing. But that was, I had dreams of doing some foil racing, and did a couple events, and then realized quickly that I just couldn't quite afford that level. So it was fun, though. Mix of both worlds.
Yeah.
It was great.
Oh, that's awesome. No, and so I've seen you guys been doing a lot of kind of getting some wing foil racing going on down in Miami there, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Looks like you guys are starting to organize some of those events.
Yeah,
That's
man,
kind of brilliant. How's that been going?
it's been awesome. We have like a pretty strong wing community here in Miami. It's pretty crazy actually. On just like on a typically windy day, like 15 knots or so, there's probably like 30 guys out in any given location.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean there's a lot of people doing it. It's a little spread out. There's different areas that people ride, and it's funny. I guess Miami's like there's a lot of traffic, so it's hard to like get around. So people go to their spot and stay there. So
Yeah.
the wing racing thing was just kind of an effort to bring everybody together and make it not terribly competitive, but just fun. And
Yeah.
so far, we've been totally striking out for breeze. We started it in like late October, and we've only been able to do it twice because it just like hasn't been really anywhere. Which
They say if you plan a kite event, plan a wing event, there's not going to be wind.
exactly. What are you gonna do?
It's without fail every time.
But it certainly hasn't stopped any enthusiasm. All the guys are all fired up every time. We showed up to the beach this past Wednesday in like 6 knots, and everybody's pumping up 7s and 8s and all fired up. Pretty good.
That's classic. So I grew up sailing a little bit. Is this a sailing thing where it's Wednesday nights? Because I feel like all the local sail races around here, they're Wednesday nights.
Totally. Yeah, it really is, man. 100%. I think it's just a classic like midway through the work week. So,
Yeah.
break up the work week. But you're totally right. But there's really no reason for us to do it on Wednesday nights at all. We just landed on that.
Yeah.
Well, Coral Reef Yacht Club in Coconut Grove, right down the street. We have
Yeah.
a couple of local guys who are all members, and they're like a super accommodating club. They're like really excited to host any like foil anything. So, I asked them, I was like, hey, is there a week or a night during the week that fits? And they were like, just pick Wednesday. You can do whatever you want. That was great.
That's awesome. No, that's so cool they were open for you guys doing
they're
that.
awesome.
So you've been with Cabrinha what for now? Has it been 6 years?
Yeah,
now?
it's honestly 6 years in January. So I started. Yeah, I've been the sales manager for now 3.5 years, But
Yeah.
basically, as soon as we did this, I was with the company basically running the like the RSX One Design windsurfing sales for the Olympics for a bit. So I did that for I guess 2.5 years, and then when the change of ownership, John Motor got involved. Basically Todd Guerrero, who had my job previously, he went up to he still works in Miami, works in our office here, but he's now the VP of sales globally. So I just took his position and I love it.
That's awesome. No. Yeah, it seems like there's been a lot of changes there in Cabrinha. It seems like a lot of good changes, a lot of this stuff flipping around the last 3 years has kind of been crazy over there, it seems like.
Yeah, it's been great, man. I mean, honestly, you literally could not ask for a better, I think, leadership and ownership team. I mean, it's pretty cool. Everybody, we definitely have, obviously everybody has their own roles, but I would say that for the most part, our organization is very horizontal. Like everybody contributes. It doesn't matter what role you're in. Everybody contributes to product feedback. Everybody, very open dialogue. Everybody talks to everybody, and there's been a lot of changes, and it's all recently with new team riders coming on and new products in the works. I think this is where we want to be. Looking forward to 2023, and pretty happy about it.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have finally kind of gotten, I'd hate to say back to where you guys are at in the industry, but
it's true. It's really true. It's funny. Like, I mean, we brought Pat Goodman back, and that happened really about 1.5 years ago. But the market still has not seen a single product that's touched his hands. So and that's just how long it takes. I mean, it takes like our 2023 product range is really we started working on it in 2021. So we've all been, eyes forward on 2023, really since the beginning of this new ownership, knowing that, it's going to take us a bit to get there, but when we get there, it'll basically be just a testament of everything that we've been working on. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. And the new stuff it's just a wild difference, man. When you see what Pat is capable of, it's pretty dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, I think his designs speak for themselves. I mean, he's pretty much every top kite in the industry. It seems like he's had some influence on almost at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And the stuff
it's pretty impressive. So
the stuff that he's done for 2023. I mean, even he's taken some of our existing kites that we just barely touched, just a couple like light modifications, and you get on the water after he's made some adjustments, and you're like, wow, this is significantly better.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're all on the right path for sure. He's a wizard.
That's awesome, though. So like adding new members to the team again, that's pretty awesome. Are you involved with that any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, for sure.
At the company
yeah,
there?
I mean, it's funny. Like I said, we all kind of contribute, and I mean, really, Lucas Arsenal is our team manager, and he's also our Canadian rep. So being the sales manager, I obviously work with him all day, every day.
Yeah.
So honestly, he's responsible really for adding team members and seeking them out. But so is Dave Haslow and James Bolding and Kent, honestly. So we all kind of search around and see if somebody shows some promise and see what we can do. But I specifically have kind of really tried to focus on bringing more youth team members into the group, and we've added a couple of young guys over the past 2 years, like 4 or 5 guys, honestly, like 15 and under. So we're I'm always trying to build the brand up from the very bottom. So I think or from the younger age. That's what I've kind of.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's something I think the industry's lacking a little bit, is that younger crowd, really. I mean, sometimes we have the parents who are involved, but it's really rare to see a kid get into wind sports without having either a parent already involved or somehow having that know-how hook up already.
Right.
So it'd be neat to see as an industry how we can figure out how to get more youth involved with that. With somehow figure it out to get it more accessible.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I think it starts from the retailer level too. And if retailers reach out to us and they say, hey, this local kid is kind of shredding, then of course we take a look at them. So it's cool.
Yeah, so I saw you and Daniel were chasing some American Cups boats a couple weekends
Yeah.
ago. What were you guys doing with them?
Yeah, it's cool. Coming from the sailing background, I'm fortunate enough to know some of the guys on that team. But it's a really impressive operation they have. It's so American Magic is it's the United States America's Cup syndicate, and they were in the cup the last round, and then didn't win, and now we're focusing on the next I believe it's 2024 in Barcelona. So yeah, we went up there, and we basically we happened to just kind of bump into a couple of those guys in Pensacola. We were there teaching a youth wing clinic at the Pensacola Yacht Club, and and we just kind of bumped into some of the guys that work on the team, and their base is Pensacola, and it kind of turned into us creating a little bit of a team deal with them, and I think at this point they've bought about 30 complete wing packages. So like everybody on the team was out in the water. Yeah, it's crazy. They invited us up to give them a little wing clinic and took us out on the boat, and it's impressive, man. I mean, it's a 75-foot foiling sailboat, and we're chasing them around all day, and about 8 knots of wind, downwind, they're doing like 42, 43 knots.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy. It's insane.
That's insane.
Super cool.
Yeah, and so going kind of back to the wing flow racing, do you see that kind of continuing and growing in the industry, you think? Do you think that's going to be one of those aspects of the sport that you're going to see more casual Wednesday night wing flow racing starting popping up?
I really do. It's funny. We've been kind of like focusing on a lot of sailing related channels as basically like just basically an ancillary kind of sales objective. And through that, again, coming from a sailing background, I definitely have a lot of like pretty decent connections with yacht clubs and yacht club staff and membership around the country. So I mean, it really starts, ironically starts with St. Francis Yacht Club, and those guys were pretty much in it first with kite racing, and they did the same thing with wing racing. And they contacted us last year, and they were developing like a youth learn to wing program. So we supplied them with equipment, and it really kind of snowballed from there. I think we've probably had now 6 or 7 clubs that we've outfitted with gear, and it starts from the youth level. But so the clubs are getting into it, which will push it from the youth side, which will help to develop the whole thing. And I think you'll just continue to see, just kind of grassroots efforts of people all over the place, just putting little events together. I mean, they're fun. It's pretty mellow. It doesn't really require any logistics, like kite launching. You need like pretty wide open spaces, and if the breeze dies, you're just sitting there floating on your board. So it's really, you just paddle in. I mean, it's a pretty mellow environment, and I think people are pretty stoked on it. So yeah, I would definitely expect it to grow. I think the powers that be in the Olympic range are keeping an eye on it too. So I think wouldn't be surprised to see it head that direction.
That's good. Yeah, it seems almost a little easier to adopt in that realm than kiting. Almost kiting's it's a weird own animal in that aspect, where winging it seems a little bit more closer tied to sailing anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the kite equipment is pretty advanced, and especially with the kites and the wing equipment.
Yeah.
To be honest, I always kind of equate it to like tractor racing. It's like it's like this terribly inefficient thing that you shouldn't really be racing, but why not give it a shot? This is pretty fun.
Why not? That's awesome. So I'm sure you've been all over the place at this point with kiting, sailing, everything. With favorite travel spot to kite or wing?
Favorite travel.
If you have one spot, pack up, go tomorrow. Where are you going?
You know what? I was down in Tobago last week. I was there for like 2 or 3 days visiting Brett Kinney down there. He runs Watersports Tobago. And that was my first time down there. I used to live in St. Thomas and kind of spent a lot of time cruising around the Caribbean, but I'd never been to Tobago, and it's incredible, man. It's beautiful. It's pretty. It's not terribly hard to get to, but it seems like it's off the radar for most people. And the swell and the waves were insane, like insanely good. spent like 2 days surfing, just like regular surfboards, some of the better waves I've caught in years. And we did a lot of foil towing on like the outer reefs out there, and it's just unreal, man. It's incredible.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
put that on your radar. Not to blow it,
I'll have to,
sorry,
yeah.
but they might appreciate some extra tourism traffic anyway.
The tourist board might like you for that one.
Give Brett a call. I'll be stoked.
All right, and then what personal gear are you running right now, and
Yeah.
what's making you choose that out of the Cabrinha
Yeah,
line
totally.
for both winging and kiting?
I think on the wing side of things, I'm on like a pretty small code, like the 4.8 code. It's the smaller one. I think it's 58 liters, so it's like it's not quite a sinker. I'm 150 pounds, so I'm not like a terribly large adult. But for me, it's like just enough that you can ride adequately powered, and you don't need the extra power for like a sinker to get out of the water. So I like that board a lot, and the Cabrinha Mantis, that's pretty hard to beat. Love that thing.
That's a pretty sweet
Yeah,
wing.
it's pretty nice. And I've been riding our H Series 800 almost exclusively for in really any condition, winging, surf foiling, anything. But we just got a couple samples of next year's foil range that we're putting out, and we're making a 700. And that thing is, I can legitimately say, without any fluff or anything, that it's hands down the best foil I've ever ridden. And it's
Oh, that's good.
yeah. So yeah, that's my setup for winging. And
Awesome.
yeah, kiting. I really just do a lot of kite foiling and a lot of kite surfing, and the single star contra for kite foiling, hard to beat. And the drifter for kite surfing is, that's go-to setup.
Yeah. I mean, the Contra's even pretty good in the waves, I'll be honest.
It really
I've
is.
had that
Yeah.
out there plenty of times.
Totally. Yeah, people love it. It was like specifically designed for kite foiling, but people love it in the waves.
Yeah.
They love it with a surfboard.
You think about it, though. I mean, all those things that make for a great foil kite, you look for in a wave kite.
Totally.
It's just a little bit lighter weight, a little bit more efficient.
Totally. And it drifts pretty well. It doesn't weigh anything. It just kind of blows downwind. It's pretty
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. And then Cabrinha's pretty heavily involved with the Newfound Freedom Project. I don't know I know that's kind of Francis's baby a little bit there.
Yeah.
But if you want to touch on that a little bit in this kind of...
Yeah, it's kind of, it is. I mean, Francis, I would call it, she's like the poster child for the whole thing. But yeah, all of us are involved, like even down to, Kiahi's been to a couple events. Lucas, Evan Nash have been to a bunch of events. All our team riders get involved. So basically what it is we've partnered with a brewery based in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. And Estuary Brewery is the name of those guys. But so we've introduced like a branded lager. It's a drifter lager, and every penny of the proceeds of the sales of that beer go to directly fund this project. So that's how we raise money for it. And what it is, it's just like an effort really to get anybody with a physical handicap or a mental handicap on the water, whether it's kiting, winging, foiling, doing anything. So it's basically like a 3-year program. We started really last year with creating these events. We had one in Charleston, one in Miami, and one out in Hood River. And really just to provide events and invite basically a group of like 10 guys or girls to come do it. So that it was tremendously successful. Everybody loved it. It's pretty humbling, honestly, to work with these guys. They're all like phenomenally stoked on life, and it's like genuinely impressive. But so that's like year one, and then year two, we'd like to develop specific handicap related equipment. And then with year three, our intention is to basically identify individual centers really throughout the world, donate this equipment, and then basically advertise it as anyone with a disability or handicap can go to these specific areas and use this equipment, enjoy themselves.
That's awesome. No, that's super cool that you guys are getting involved with Cabrinha. It's nice to see giving back, not just giving back, but actually like giving back with a sport that we all care about and love so much.
Yeah.
It's cool to see that transfer to people who don't know about it.
We do these national demo tours. We have an RV that drives all over the U.S. and we just did one in Europe this past year. But we basically have like a QR code literally just stamped on the side of the RV. And some people will just, even if you're in a gas station, some people will walk by and just be like, "What's this?" And we'll kind of give them like a really quick description. We're like, "Awesome!" They take a picture. Like, "Here's $20." Like, "Whoa, okay, great."
That's awesome. No, it's great to see so many people stoked on it.
It's humbling. It's very cool.
Yeah, I think that wraps up most of my questions. Oh, Jake wanted me to ask you, what was your favorite can cooler that we sent you guys? and that you had the ice passed off to you.
Yeah, man. A jerk. Daniel.
Don't worry, we got something cooking for him. Don't worry.
Perfect. That's good. I asked him for his address the other day. I literally, hang out at his house like 3 days a week. I have no idea where he lives. And I was just like, "Dude, what's your address?" And he like sent it to me right away. Then like we're leaving work. He's like, "Why did you need my address?" I'm like, "You are in a lot of trouble, bro."
That's so funny.
It was pretty good.